it's MK and I am here with a Paw Your Way into Our Hearts layout for you guys today. I am also playing along with Ginger's Corner Speedy Scrapbooking, and this is the sketch that I have chosen to work with today. I'm going to alter it a little bit, but I'm also playing along with one of my kits from the April 2025 Kit Conspiracy Kit. So I have several photos that I want to put on this layout, and the sketch only calls for one. So I'm going to incorporate a lot of photos into this sketch, even though it only asks for one. So I've got this awesome title by Scrapbook Addicts. I also have these laser cut. I don't really know exactly what's left, but I've got a couple laser cut pieces as well as the die cut pieces in this Arden Creative Hidden Creek collection. Here are a ton of scraps that I have left over, again from Arden Creative, and then it's the Hidden Creek. I just didn't have the branding strip. Oh, there it is. And it's a paper pad, you guys. It's not loose leaf papers like we're used to with Katie Petit's designs. I thought I was going to incorporate this piece, but you'll see later on that it just doesn't work. I would like to mat all of my photos in just this one scrap of paper. That is the, I'm going to use the green on that side. And then from Simple Stories, I have this gorgeous wood grain that went super well with the Hidden Creek collection, and I incorporated several sheets of it. I don't know how I got that many sheets, but I did end up putting all that wood grain in my kit instead of white cardstock. So I'm going to use this piece here as my background. I thought that it was just the perfect amount of not so white, so that way I didn't have to come up with a way, because this is supposed to be speedy scrapbooking. It's supposed to come together super quick. Now, I do have to say that some of the things that I enjoy doing aren't super quick, like distressing my edges, matting my photos, things like that take a little bit of time. I do like, I have been lately, and I know this is like jumping back 10 years, but before I used to only print 4x6. That is all that I've ever printed. But the more that I scrapbook, especially since I started my YouTube journey, I have been scrapbooking a ton lately and trying to figure out how to get all of these photos on a layout without doing 6 or 7 12x12 layouts or a ton of pocket page photos, or not photos, but designs for you guys. I have decided that I'm going to start mixing up my pictures, right? I include 4x4s, 3x4s, 4x6s, things like that. Anything that fits in my little PictureMate printer that I have, that works for me. But I do still like printing straight up 4x6s. Now, I have been really enjoying printing with a border, because then I can trim the border down if I remember to, and not have to mat. I can skip that step because now it's already matted, depending on what I am going to be doing with my photo, because of course it's always white, right? If I'm looking for more of a cream or more of a darker base, then I will have to double mat or remove the border and mat it with what I want. But I'm just saying that it's a super fast step if you add a border to your photos. That was my long story, making it short now. If you add a border to your photos, you can skip the photo mat step. However, I really like double matting. I really like the color mat. There's just a lot of things that I like to do. And I'm not one of those types of people that like to preserve paper. I don't want to sit there and think of ways that I can use as little paper as possible. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because here I really wanted to use up this green scrap. Can you see the green scrap? Not really, but that green scrap allowed me to distress the edges with keeping my photos still clean. So that was another thing that I was trying to go for, was I like to distress my edges, but I also don't really like to, every now and then I like to distress the edges of my photos, but not always. And so this gives me that clean photo edge, but then I still have a distressed skirting around my photo. So here I'm going to actually put this wood grain behind the little strips of paper that are in the sketch. For one, I wasn't sure how many pieces I was going to be able to get, because I really wanted to use up my scraps before cutting into the larger plaid paper that I had. So I really wanted to make sure that I had a filler in case I have a ton of gaps. It doesn't end up happening, but the thought was there just in case I needed it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this perfectly ripped piece of wood grain. Now I did have to cut a piece off because I didn't really want it to go behind the photos. I just wanted it to butt up right next to it, but it was the size that it wasn't giving me enough room for this blank space for my single photo that I'm going to have over on the left. Now, I did end up taking out one of the pictures because it was very similar it's that upper picture up there. It was very similar. It's just Roscoe was looking in a different direction. And so I removed one of those photos, but I really do love it. This is Roscoe's first ride in our new to us truck. It's not a brand new truck because I don't think they make these trucks anymore. And that's why, my husband is weird. There's a specific type of truck that he absolutely positively wanted to have. And it was a mega cab Dodge with a long bed. And he didn't get his mega cab, but he found his long bed. The cab is still, this whole truck is monstrous. And I mean, he's super excited about it and whatnot. And then he realized that it's a 3500 instead of the 2500s that he was looking at. So it's a more heavy duty. And the more that he looked at the truck, the more it was ranch ready. It has this, it has that. It's got all different kinds of things. And it even came with the fifth wheel hitch in the back. And so he's just all excited for this truck. And so we put the back seats up so that way Roscoe can enjoy the ride comfortably without having to worry about the cushions of the seats. We find that he really enjoys the ride a lot more when he just has a solid surface to stand on. So that is just where these are. I was taking lots and lots of pictures because he was super comfortable in this truck. Normally he's not. Normally he is in the back of the bed and he's super comfortable back there no matter what vehicle it is. But inside the cab, he acts a little like I don't know what to do because I'm not usually allowed in here. He did the same thing in the Sequoia when I first started taking him in that as well. But I have to tell you guys, I let the Sequoia pass the 10-year mark first before I let him in the car. If you guys know me, I am super picky about what is in my car. I don't even let my children eat in the car. And they're teenagers. I'm just super picky, you guys. And then, of course, I have a picture with me in the mirror with Roscoe having his head poked out of the back of the truck. So that was super fun too. But it was just super fun taking our puppy for a ride. He's not a puppy, but he is a puppy to us. So I also, I forgot to tell you guys where I got my color from because I'm also playing along with Off the Board. And that's where I chose my colors based off of the puppy picture that I chose. It was a super fun picture that I saw and I really did get drawn to the colors. I was going to try to do a birthday picture of Roscoe because we've never really realized how old he is. And this is his birthday month. It's actually just a couple days ago was his birthday and he turned 12 years old. But he still acts like a puppy. He still looks like a puppy. I mean, he hasn't fully gone gray yet, but he does have this one little spot behind his ear where little gray hairs are starting to form. He's adorable, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm a little biased when it comes to my puppy, but he is adorable in my mind. But I was going to do a birthday picture, but we really don't do that with our dog. We never really have. We just enjoy the moments that we have with him. Okay, so I super fast forwarded through what I was trying to do with all of these stripes. It took me forever and a half a day to get where I needed to be. And I just thought you guys did not need or want to see any of that nonsense. I mean, I am sped up 4 times here and I still feel like I'm going at a snail's pace. It just looks really super slow to me, but this is sped up. Believe it or not, this is sped up. It just takes me a while to get the right to get them all in the right spot, right? I want it to go with the flow of the wood grain, the rip in the wood grain. So I'm putting smaller pieces in the middle, longer pieces out on the edges, and then I figured I will nestle in my picture. I haven't even gotten to the point where I am decorating this page yet. Now, I did pull out a ton of decorations because I wasn't really sure exactly where I was going to go, but on this layout, on this sketch, I should say, there is 3 sections where the designer put which I'm assuming is Ginger. Normally, it says who designs it, and then when it doesn't, it just says Ginger's Corner. So I'm assuming Ginger designed this herself. And she's got 3 suggestions, one at the top on the upper left, one at the bottom lower left, and then in the right bottom corner of the single photo that is over on the right side. So those are the suggestions. And at this point, I'm not going to lie, but I am no longer looking at the sketch. I just fell in love with where my stripes ended up and how this whole design right here made the entire page, that after this point, the sketch doesn't matter. It's like, oh, I'm squealing. I'm so excited. I'm super happy. I love the way that the wood grain looks behind all of this plaid. I love this plaid. It is up front and center and basically the main focal point on this layout. I do like how I added in all of my photos, so I didn't quite make my stripes long enough, or strips, I should say, because I knew I wasn't going to have the length in all of my scraps. I knew I wasn't going to have that, at least not enough to fill in this whole gap. And so that's where the idea of all of these pictures lining on the left-hand side came from, because then it lessens the layout and makes it a little bit more easier for me to work with. All right, so now that I've got all of that, I did pop up 2 of my photos because I wasn't really sure how dimensional this layout was going to be. And you guys know me, I do like a lot of depth and dimension on my layouts. I've had a couple people ask me, well, how many pictures can you fit in an album, or how many layouts can you fit in an album when you make them so thick? And I don't even, that doesn't even come into a factor for me. I do know that after several years sitting on a shelf in an album, I start boxing up my layouts. I take them out of the album and box them up and have them available for them to flip through. I just started doing that, actually. It's not something that I've been doing, but it is something that I have started doing, and my children love it. In fact, they have taken the albums the pictures out of the albums, and they started making their own boxes. I want this picture, I want that picture, and then we started labeling them per children. So it's just fabulous how, and they don't argue over the pictures. It's just super fun to see, now that they're not in an album and official, that they actually want these layouts, right? And so it's just fun. It really is. My youngest daughter pretty much claims every picture with Roscoe. And every now and then she loses one to my oldest son. So it's just fun. It really is. And then, of course, I've got boxes and albums. I've got a year in review albums for my children. And then they've got individual pages that ended up in our travel albums of each other, and that's what's in their boxes is single pictures of each, when I do an individual page for my kids. So it's just fun. It really is. But as far as if I'm concerned how many albums or how many pages fit in an album, I'm not even concerned about that. They as far as I know, I'm going to stick with this because I love the fact that my kids now, it doesn't have to stay in an album. And they've moved everything over. They're dated. They're, it's just super fun to watch them, sort the pages into what they want. And then they have this nice little box full of the pages that they want. And then the pages that they don't, we still get to enjoy. It's really fun, actually. And so, yeah, I'm not even concerned about depth and dimension anymore, you guys. I'm just not. All right, so I did remember that I had these bright neon green labels. I believe that is a lawn fawn design up at the top. I don't know, you guys. Honestly, Janet and I picked these up out of a give-take table. And we split them in half, like you take these and I'll take these. And then that's how I ended up with these labels. And then these neon green ones were super hard for me to use. I've tried to put them on several layouts, but I just could not get them to match any color. But then I pulled out this collection and there is like that neon green effect, not entirely, so I do have to cover them up a little bit, but they still work. They still go with this collection. So I was super stoked that I was able to get that out. I also pull out a bunch of tiny, not a bunch, but a few tiny words, phrases from the die cut collection, as well as a ticket and I think 2 more labels. I'm not really sure. I do pull out that little Explorer button, or it's a faux flare. That does not end up, I don't even think it says Explorer. I'm not sure, but I do end up finding more tiny words to go in. I did fast forward because I'm too lazy to dump this out. And I'm just sticking my hand in the package and trying to pull out just what I see and want. So yes, it definitely it was definitely something that I needed to fast forward over because of the fact that, yeah, that it was, no, you don't need to see all that nonsense. That was ridiculous. So I do know that this was called Speedy Scrapping and my video is 21 minutes long, but there was a lot of things that I wanted to share with you guys on this. For these stamped images, this little title set that I got from Scrapbook Addicts, I did end up roughing up the edges of all the pine needles. So that way it gave it, again, more dimension and a little bit of body, but also a little bit of life, right? Because pine needles aren't perfect and they're definitely not smooth, right? So I wanted to scuff them up a little bit. And then I'm just going to take that larger frame or label, I should say, and extend my photo just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of something to match the other label that I had down there. And then, of course, I've got, all my little tiny word stickers that I still have to put down and fill in some voids, right? I do like the little pine needles and the little pine cones sticking out from the little strips of paper that I put down. That's one of the things, but I wanted to remember that in the sketch, there was one in the upper left and the one in the bottom left. And so that is where I wanted to try to make them fit in my stripes. So I've got one up at the top and one down at the bottom, but then I had this little blank space for inside my little photo strip, which was something that if you take the sketch away, this would work really well as an 8.5 by 11 sketch, by the way, or even a 9 by 12. It's awesome. But I wanted to fill in that little gap or bring some attention to my photo strips that I have over there, or photo strip. I also took the word memories, which popped up in the little kit from Scrapbook Addicts. I took the little memories part and I roughed that up as well, just to give it a little bit more of an interest and feel to it, dimension, I should say, or personality. And then, of course, I've got to rough up everything, you guys. It's just what I do. It's just what I love doing. And it also leads to imperfection. It really does. If I messed up on something, nobody's ever going to know because I scuffed it all up. I made the edges ruffly. I distressed the edges. No one in their right mind is going to see that I did not do a very good job of fussy cutting, or I didn't do a very good job of stamping, or I didn't do a very good job of gluing, because it's all roughed up anyways. It's meant to look imperfect, and I just love that. I really do. All right, so last thing I'm going to be doing is finishing off this little set up here. I do have one little pine cone. It's a little lonely pine cone that I want to find a home for because I thought about it and I was like, ooh, if I don't find a home for this, it's not going to match anything else. And I don't know if I have this stamp set or not. So I'm just trying to figure out where it's best seen. Where does it look good? I liked it right there. I like it up here, but then it just feels forced. Like, no, maybe up here, and there's the winner. Sometimes you just have to move it around and see what you like about it and what makes it all work. So that is my quote unquote speedy scrapbooking for the day. It did go by super fast. I'm going to have to say that I was impressed with how fast this actually went, even though my video doesn't show it. But that is what I've got for you guys. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will be sure to include the off the board logo to this because that's where I ended up. That's where I picked these papers from, was the little picture of the puppy with the bubbles, and it was adorable. So I'll make sure to include that as well. So don't forget to check out all of the links that I have down below. I have a playlist for Speedy scrapbooking, for Paw Your Way into Our Hearts, and for Off the Board as well. And then I've got a link to the Kit Conspiracy if you guys want to go and check out what that is all about. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it every day that you guys come hang out with me. And yeah, I will check you guys all later. Bye.